Hello everyone, my name's Pam and welcome back to my YouTube channel where I teach English lessons, sometimes give information about study abroad, and help you prepare for the PTE, the Pearson Test of English. And today I want to focus on the PTE exam. We are going to look at one of the most important question types in the PTE, write from dictation. Did you know that just getting one wrong word in write from dictation can block your target PTE score? The good news is that you can also use write from dictation to boost your overall score. It's that important. So stick with me and let me show you how. First of all, what is write from dictation? It comes at the end of the PTE test, yeah? So when you're already exhausted, you've done everything else, you're in the final section, which is the listening section. And then at the very end of the listening section, there comes this kind of question type called write from dictation. You will hear a sentence.
Effective communication skills are essential for professional success in business.
And then you type the sentence. And that's it. Now, there'll usually be 3 or 4 of these question types in an overall PTE test, but they seem pretty simple, right? So far, so easy. So why am I telling you that write from dictation is so important? Well, it's about how Pearson scores their exams. Write from dictation has quite a heavy weight to your overall score. So it's one of the few question types where the scoring impacts both your listening and your writing. Another important thing to know about write from dictation is that every individual word matters. So if you misspell just one word in write from dictation, then you have potentially lost an important point in listening and in writing. So think of it as an opportunity. If you can do write from dictation well, you can boost your score in both listening and writing. Now, before I show you how I think you should approach this question type, let's just look at what I think you shouldn't do. Let's bust some myths. Myth number 1. Some people say that it works well to write the first letter of every word. If it works for you, great. But let me give you an example of exactly how difficult that is, right? Listen to this and try and write the first letter of each word.
Effective communication skills are essential for professional success in business.
Could you do it? I know I couldn't, right? By the time I have written the first 2 letters, the sentence is already finished. It's just too fast. So it sounds smart, it sounds like a good idea, but honestly, most of us, our brains work too slowly and we're giving it an extra job to not just catch the word, but then work out what's the first letter. It's actually an extra step that you don't need. So I would strongly recommend that you try it at least once at home before you go into the exam thinking it's going to work for you. Like I said, if it works for you, great. You have a faster brain than I do. But honestly, I think you're setting yourself an extra obstacle by doing this. Second myth that I'd like to bust is actually a myth that I have recommended in the past. In an old video, I have supported this idea of adding extra words. And I know that it's a very common strategy that a lot of people recommend on different YouTube channels, a lot of teachers support. I would like to say that it's risky, okay? I believe in some cases it may still work, but it's risky. Now, if you're watching me thinking, what does she even mean, add an extra word? Let me just show you an example of this strategy and the way people use it.
Several students submitted the report late.
If you typed it in exactly as it is, let's say you'd get 6 points, 1 point for each word. But let's say that you misspelt one word, like we miss a T in submitted. That means you get 5 points, right? Every misspelt word is just a missed opportunity. So what some people do is if they're not sure of the spelling, then they write it both ways, like this. So it would be several students submitted the report late, like this. And based on what I can analyze of the Pearson scoring system, you should get 6 points for this. Yeah, because the way that the AI works is that it is just looking for a correct word in the correct order. So if you've got a correctly spelt word and it's in the correct order in the sentence, even if you've got an extra word in there, there's no mention in Pearson's scoring guide that they deduct points for it. However, Pearson do not promise that they will announce every change that they make to their algorithm. Yeah, they're working on refining their algorithm all the time. And they're getting better and better at it, and we all know that AI is improving at a very rapid rate. So I think it's a waste of your energy to try such a technique. I think you are much better served trying to get an honest, correct answer. Because who knows at what time the Pearson test is going to suddenly have an algorithm that can catch when you are just putting in extra words, yeah? Okay, so what do you do? Well, let's look at what the most difficult parts of write from dictation are first, okay? Firstly, there's memory fade. So memory is one issue. Another issue is missing function words like the, for, to. Sometimes they're difficult to catch, yeah. Native speakers swallow words like this, so it's difficult to hear. That's another issue. And the third one is the one I really want you guys to focus on, spelling. Spelling slips. You get 0 credit for any word that is incorrectly spelt. And this is the point that really matters. And this is the thing that you can actually fix really easily as long as you just work a little bit hard before your test, put in some decent preparation for it. Okay, so let's approach each of those pain points one by one, okay? The first pain point was memory fade. Yeah, we forget the sentence when we're typing it. Just stay with what works for you. But let me give you 3 techniques that have some science behind them that people say do work and that I personally have tried and found to work too. Okay, so the first one is chunking. It's a nice, simple technique where you just listen to chunks of language rather than trying to catch it word by word. What do I mean by chunks? Well, like 2 or 3 words, right? A phrase. Instead of hearing and trying to remember, students submitted the report late, you'd think of it as students submitted the report late. Yeah, you've chunked submitted the report. And that's probably how you'd hear it. So think of it that way too. It's usually easier to remember. Or 2, you can use visualizing, which is my favorite technique. Yeah, I would like to get a mental image of what's happening in the sentence so that it's easier for me to then type it out. Yeah, so I'm imagining students, I'm imagining them submitting reports, and maybe I'm imagining a big clock behind them or something just to give the idea of late. Whatever works for you, okay? If visualizing works for you, do it. If, however, you want a simple life and a simple memory trick, the third idea of just echoing and silently repeating the words before typing, that will work for a lot of people. It often works for me, yeah? So I'll hear students submitted the report late and I'll say students submitted the report late, students submitted the report late. And I'll just repeat it so that it's stuck. Okay, now these help, but no memory trick will work 100% every time. That's okay too. You do get partial points. So even if you don't get every single word in the sentence, still try and write some of the words. You'll still get some points for those. Okay, so the second pain point is that we often miss these little function words like the, for, and to, yeah? So, for example, if somebody says, I have to go, what you're going to hear a proficient speaker of English say will be, I have to go. Okay, because we smush these words together. Have and to become like one word. The v changes to a f sound here. The u changes to a sound. This is really common, and it is not wrong. You are going to hear this in fairly standard spoken English. So in the PTE listening section, you will hear people speaking like this. And write from dictation is in part testing your ability to catch this. Okay, so you're not going to hear students submitted the report. You'll hear students submitted the report. The report, right? Now, how do you improve that? Guys, there's no hack and there's no quick fix for this one. So if you need a faster fix to get a good write from dictation score, then I recommend focusing on the third technique, which I'll talk about shortly, the one to approach your spelling better. But if you have a little bit of time, even 2 or 3 months, then I would recommend trying to improve your skills at connected speech. So that's what you should do. It's called connected speech. Google it, okay, learn about it, and try and just listen to as much of it as possible and copy it as much as possible so that you start connecting with the rhythm of it. You can look over my old YouTube shorts. I have a lot of videos that start with speak naturally in 20 seconds, and most of those are just about connected speech. So those might help you. But there are a lot of wonderful teachers who do things online that could help you. I strongly recommend, there's a really clever lady called Hada Shemesh, and if you watch any of her videos about pronunciation, which most of her teaching is, then I would strongly recommend her for training you to catch that kind of connected speech. If you are planning to move to Australia, you can sort of double up by checking out Aussie English with Amanda, specifically Australian pronunciation. But a lot of that is about the connected speech, which you'll find across the board in a lot of PTE. Of course, in PTE, they speak a little bit more clearly than people outside that you will talk to in the shops, but the principle is the same. Even in formal academic English, there is still a certain amount of connected speech. Other people that you could follow, I would recommend English, another Australian, Emma, and English with Lucy. Very famous, you may already know her. She's British. They both have beautiful speaking voices and they both speak very clearly, but they give clear examples of how connected speech is used. And they have a lot of shadowing videos. So if you search for their shadowing videos, shadow them, then that's going to help too. But now let's look at my third recommendation. And this is the one where you can really have some control. This is the one where even if you only have a week, you've got time to try and boost your score. And that is spelling. Okay? If you misspell any of the words that you hear, you don't get that point at all for listening or for writing. So spelling is super important here. And it's where you can make the biggest gains. So what I would recommend you do is get a list going, okay? And if you actually look in the comment box below, I am going to post a link to a collection of spelling words that are very important for you in the PTE. So these will include things like PTE's favorite sort of words, which are academic things like renewable, okay, government. Also, you need to get the function words correct, right? So most of you have basic function words like to and the, you won't misspell, but it's amazing how many people misspell words like through and though, okay? Get it right. You have time, you just have to memorize it. And finally, there are certain words in English that are just tricky for everyone, tricky for native speakers too. And it's often because there are double letters in them. So one of the most famous is accommodation. There are two C's, two M's, this kind of thing. And remember, if you just miss one M, then that's it. No points for your listening or for your writing in that section. So it's really worth just spending some time, 1 week, 2 weeks, just really learning spelling of some of those tricky words. So how do we do this? Get your study plan going for Write from Dictation, right? Build your own spelling list. Start with mine, remove any words from it that you find too easy, and then after any time you do a practice write from dictation or anytime you write an essay, just run it through ChatGPT, find out what spelling mistakes you've made, find out the correct way to spell those words, and add those words to your spelling list. And then just keep on learning them until you can do them correctly, okay? So basically, when you are preparing, you should be putting 70% of your effort on spelling, maybe 30% on memory techniques, and forget about, hacks like putting in extra words. Okay, so now let's just look at an example Write from Dictation exercise, and you can just see what I do and think about how you would do it.
The government announced new policies to support renewable energy projects.
Okay, so how did I memorize? Well, honestly, it moved so fast that I just repeated the words, okay? I used that third technique I told you about of just repeating it. Wait until the end of the sentence so that you don't miss anything, okay? Don't try and shadow in the middle of the sentence, but listen to the full sentence and then repeat, and write. Now, if you want to visualize, I suppose you could visualize a government member with a megaphone and a wind turbine. These kinds of things would work. It depends what kind of brain you have. But whatever you do, just try and do something quickly so that you don't forget it just through wasting time. Okay, now, the important thing, the thing that you can control, remember, is the spelling. So let's look at this and realize that if you had prepared using my spelling list, then you would definitely have the word government and renewable already correct. And the beauty of being able to spell difficult words like that without thinking is that it frees your brain up enough so that you can think about the rest of the sentence. Yeah, you can listen for the meaning, you can listen for the other words instead of thinking, how do I spell government? Does it have an N or no N? Yeah? So I would strongly recommend try and memorize as many spellings of as many PTE typically used words as you can. And it's going to help with everything, okay? Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. If you have learned anything useful from today's lesson, please click like, subscribe. But also, if you would like further help with the PTE exam, there are 3 other ways I can help you. One is with private coaching. Now, I am fully booked right now for one-on-one coaching. But if any of you are looking for long-term coaching, please contact me. That's honestly the best way to prepare anyway, is give yourself, depending on your English level, but if you are at a level that is quite a bit below where you need to be, give yourself several months and contact me and we can arrange private coaching sessions for you. If, however, you don't have that kind of time, you just maybe need a bit of a booster, then I'm going to try running some one-off small group lessons. Yeah, so it'll be small groups. I'll cap it at 5 people so that you can have plenty of chance to ask me questions and to really dig deep on your particular issues. And the third thing is my PTE book, which I'm sorry, guys. I am working so hard on that book, but I'm taking a long time. It will be ready in the next couple of weeks. I've been saying this for a while now, but I'm doing my best. Okay, it will be wonderful when it is out. And in the meantime, keep watching my videos. I hope they're helpful. I try to answer you in the comments if you have questions too. And if you want to just improve your general English, I go live on Instagram every Sunday night. So follow me at Neo English with Pam on Instagram as well. Okay, that'll do. Thank you all very much for your time. Have a great week.